Looking inside Texas football, today I'm joined by a special guest, JP Tillman, quarterback trainer extraordinaire, based out of Cypress, Texas. That's on the northwest side of Houston, for those unfamiliar. JP has trained a lot of guys for a number of years. He's at his current fields where I've met him a number of times, seeing players that he's working with, whether quarterbacks or other position groups. JP, how's it going, buddy?
It's going good, Eric. It's good to see you again, brother, and thank y'all for having me, man.
Yeah, it's weird to meet like this as opposed to out on the fields, one of those fields or a different high school.
Right.
Um, Before we talk about the man of the hour, Trey Owens, who's signing with Texas and one of your pupils, let's talk a little bit about how you got into this line of work. Where'd you go to high school? Where'd you play in college, et cetera?
I started at Cy Falls, played with numerous amount of really good guys, Andre Sexton, Ricky Price, some guys, those Oklahoma State guys that played on the team with me, and it was a great time being in Cy Fair ISD. I ended up committing to Missouri over North Carolina, and Duke was they had 100% graduation rate, and so my mom was big on education, so that was, no matter how good the football team or bad the football team was, that was big for her. And at the end of the day, they made it to like top two, because that was big for me. But Coach Pinkel and Coach Odom, who's the head coach of UNLV now,
Oh, yeah.
they really just did a great job recruiting me, and Coach Yost. I believed in his development with Brad Smith, and who I thought didn't really get a shot to be an NFL quarterback, but should have, but became a great wide receiver still, and a great NFL product. But Chase Daniels, who's a prolific guy. He's been um, the Josh McCown of our time.
Yeah.
Uh, been a great player in the NFL, great backup, and he was a great guy for me to learn from. And so, was there for almost 3 years and decided to go to Grambling State. Wasn't necessarily a transfer portal back then, so uh,
Yeah.
I decided to not forego a year and wanted to just kind of transition and keep going, and I did, and played for a guy named Rod Broadway at Grambling State. I think we lost 2 games that year. One was to Colin Kaepernick, and then the other game I can't remember right now, but we still ended up winning the national championship in the SWAC.
There you go.
Didn't throw any interceptions, and so
There you go.
I was able to help my team and play my role pretty well. And shortly after the championship was over, I had got some pain in my stomach, and it ended up being some stomach ulcers I was dealing with in high school that were bleeding. Kind of took me out of football for a while. Kind of medically, I just needed to take some time for myself. And once I was good, I decided to try to play football one more time. And maybe I shouldn't have, because I ended up I fractured my C3 and C4 in a football practice, and
Mm,
that ended up kind of paralyzing me for a second there, about 10
geez.
seconds on the ground, and I didn't get feeling back for another maybe 2 minutes, and from there I started to trying to figure out what I needed to do to keep trying to either get a chance to play in the NFL or what was going to be next. And no matter where I kind of ended up with football teams with mini camps and tryouts, and a lot of times I was the last quarterback on the field. It just the waiver process, the medical stuff was a lot more heavier with the team than it was with me. But I had a family at the time, and so I couldn't kind of sacrifice my ability to be living and walking and everything,
Yeah.
make money for my family, and sacrifice that just for one more chance to try to play football on the team. And so that's kind of what got me to this part, kind of migrating through depression, being a gladiator taken out of the arena. And it's not because I couldn't fight and I didn't have good skills. It was because my body kind of started breaking down, and nobody wanted to kind of test the waters. And that was all right. Like I said, I wouldn't trade any of it for where I am now. And being able to be a blessing to young men and kind of guide them in a direction to where they want to chase their dreams it's a comforting and a joyous feeling for me, and I wake up every day excited. So
Well, that's a big thing for you, right? You get to
yeah,
remain a big part of the football community, and at the same time, you get to mentor young men.
Oh, for
One
sure.
of those,
If they can take a right step where I took a wrong step, I feel like I've served my purpose right there. And
there
so
you go.
that's
One
kind of how I see things.
One of your pupils, and we'll get to another one. You just got off the field with Derek Lagway, the 5-star in the 2024 class, committed to Florida. Another one of your guys is Trey Owens, who Texas fans are all well aware of. He's a Texas signee. He's going to be, he'll be arriving to Texas in January. When did you first get Trey, and what were your first impressions of him?
It had to have been third grade.
Oh man,
which is which is crazy, right? Some people always be like, "Man, you don't have any NFL quarterbacks." I was like, I started with babies, so I mean, my my babies are still in NCAA playing. Clifton McDowell is going to the NCAA championship for Montana. There's just I'm so proud of these boys and the hard work that I've seen them grow up from when they were little. And
yeah,
Cliff was one that knows Trey because he was right there in the thick of things when we first started at the Cy Falls High School, 2013. And it was just Trey was a young man in some high top Under Armour, the Cam Newton cleats, the ones look like boxing cleats, and he
yeah,
had this giraffe type build, and we would call him the baby giraffe. Um, he started doing footwork with Jared Bailey, another guy that works out here, and Jared actually played for Trey Owens' dad at Cy Woods High School when Trey Owens' dad was a coach. And so yeah, we both kind of just share that giraffe idea with him and just watching him grow up. But I think I posted a video not too long ago of Trey just kind of throwing on the run, and I think that was probably the first year that me and Trey had started working. He was tall kid, and if you ever met Trey's dad and mom, you're like, man, this kid might be a giant. And that ended up manifesting itself into reality, and he turned into a giant. And he's been always a kid with high confidence, and I think the biggest thing that I take away from Trey's journey is the non-quit factor, and still being able to have confidence on every level, even though in the beginning he didn't see himself be the QB1, whether it was flag football, 7-on-7 tackle. He was always training for it, but there was always maybe daddy ball, and so I was playing QB2, and I played another position,
yeah,
and he stayed with it. And by the eighth grade, ninth grade, you started seeing him really take form into the quarterback. Where ninth grade year he was QB1, but had to kind of split with somebody. So his 10th grade year was really his first time really being a guy, the guy. No one else is coming on the field. And so he really had matured at a fast pace that I would think, based on how much football experience he's had. And so when you
right.
watch him grow, you're watching this 6'5.5", almost 6'6" guy who has really developed himself into what we see right now, and never faltered. Never kind of quit, never thought differently of himself, and to this day, I mean, I don't think there's a kid on the planet with as much confidence as him. He could go into a game and it may not start how he wants to, maybe threw 2 interceptions off the bat, and then finish the game with 7 touchdowns.
Confidence was sort of my first impression of Trey. Before we get into a little bit more of that confidence and his maturation, let me do a quick ad real quick for my buddy Andre the lawyer. If you're injured, call Andre. He helps fellow Longhorns through car wrecks, if the slip and fall accidents, 18-wheeler accidents, or on-the-job injuries and wrongful deaths. Andre is a proud Inside Texas member, and if you're hearing this, he wants to help you. Call him at 214-444-8808, 214-444-8808. If for some reason I had carpal tunnel syndrome and had to sue myself at InsideTexas.com, I'd go with Andre the lawyer. All right, JP. The first time I talked to Trey, confidence jumped out. This was the summer. This was August after his sophomore year, going into his junior season, and he camped at Texas next to a guy named Arch Manning. A lot of players would be intimidated by that. Trey came away proud, saying that he might be an inch, a little bit taller than Arch. So I think he was even competing on
On
who was
high,
taller.
yeah, no,
But
I think the kid
a
competes
lot
in
of
that.
a lot of guys would back down from that, but he embraced it. He liked the chance to throw next to Arch, and obviously he's confident if he's willing to follow Arch in the next class. A lot of players wouldn't do that. Talk a little bit more about his confidence.
I mean, it's not too high where you have to be worried about the young man, but it's high enough to where it seems like he's supposed to be a Longhorn, you know.
Right.
And I think he embodies that, and I think that's the confidence that the Longhorn, nation is really, you know, if once it is Trey's turn, he's that Texas native, he's that Houston guy, he embodies that spirit, and just the confidence he has to make the throw, game-winning throw. Katie got to throw this back shoulder throw. I got it. Boom. The long balls he can throw, that that on North Shore, Devin Sanchez. Um, there's nothing that the young man feels like is too big of a task or of an impossible feat. He welcomes adversity, and in the face of danger, he does the impossible, and it's really cool to just watch that little kid turn into that
Yeah.
young man. I think I've told his dad that so many times. I'm just so proud of him.
What are some more of his strengths in addition to confidence? You mentioned that arm. I think that's really what caught Steve Sarkisian and AJ Milwauee's eyes. Talk a little bit more about his arm and some of his other strengths.
His off-platform ability, right? He can throw from any angle, arm angle. When you put those two things together, I think even though he may not be a 4-4 guy running, taking off, I think it allows him to be a mobile and a impactful quarterback still with the tools that he has, being able to kind of pull from here and just throw it instead of having to sit and chin the ball. Um, his ability to kind of process the defenses and seeing what's going on in certain formations that are also very prolific formations. They are pistol, they're under center, and they're also in shotgun. So he's coming in with a wide range of drops, a wide range of understanding from different quarterback formations and what'll be asked of him in the Sarkisian era. I think they're getting a guy who can make the big plays, who can make the special RPO throws, who can get under the hump, right, and play from there and do all of those things that we see the guys in the NFL doing every day. And at the same time, he can pick up 10 yards at a time, pick you up a first down. He's not dead in the water if he gets pressure. We've seen that in the North Shore game. We've seen that in the Katy game, versus probably the stiffest competition he's seen all season, and him really will and deal and move around and move the pocket when he had to. And so that's really, I think, that what Steve Sarkisian had seen, and I think that's what Coach AJ Milwee really enjoyed, and just the spirit of that young man. It doesn't seem like he's a breakable subject. He seems unbreakable. Um, Very put together. His parents have modeled a very genuine young man, and it's been awesome to be able to train him and work with him, be a mentor for him, and just be alongside them during this time.
When you're training quarterbacks, do you work with them on progressions, going through, understanding, reading defenses, and that sort of thing, or is it mainly focused on mechanics?
I try to be the whole circle of them, even nutrition, how to do interviews, trying to answer questions and not be one word answers, because you guys need content, and in order to give y'all content, it can't be one word. And,
Yeah,
creating an available an impressionist person that's available, um, and so. Goes beyond the mechanics of the quarterback, but really trying to build the young man, into who he'll be when the football goes flat as well,
yeah,
because we all have to deal with that too. And so, yes, mechanics, yes, X's and O's, yes, boardroom stuff. If the coaches allow me to be the ultimate complement to their quarterback and their system and their team, I'll dive right into it, learn everything I need to be able to help the kid, and give him another voice, but not one that overpowers the coach, but just goes alongside with what the
sure.
coaches wanted me to do, because we know how UIL is in terms of legal, illegal time with kids. So I just try to step inside that middle ground and try to be my best servant that I can be.
Got you. One of the things we've heard about as well is this toughness, and that's a huge part of playing quarterback. And really, if you have confidence and you're not tough, then that confidence is misplaced. You shouldn't have it because you can only
Most definitely.
have confidence if you're a tough guy. But he'll take it on the chin and step into his throw.
That's what I was about to say. Go look at his junior film. I don't know if he had as much as senior year, but his
Right.
junior film was him taking it to the chin and delivering a 40, 35-yard strike, a 65-yard touchdown. And I think, like I said, those is the guy gets up off the ground and it's like he's a Longhorn. That
Yeah.
guy's going to Texas. You know what I mean? So I think you guys have definitely won when it talks about a kid with a high ceiling, even though he may be a little underrated. I think that that kid there can do any and everything that the guys in the top 1 through 10 can do,
Right.
as far as with their arm and their mind and their playability. I think all of them have different things that make them special and make colleges want them. But I think he's earned and deserved his way to be in the top 10 for sure. But that he doesn't bat an eye at that. Those guys they they put on their work shirt and they go to work. So him and his family, that's how they are. And so the green jacket mentality is how they say.
Yeah, I think he's underrated as well. I'm writing an article. I'm actually in the process of writing an article about the underrated Longhorns in the class, and I think he's definitely right at the top of the list. Having gone through college yourself, the adjustment period going from high school to college, and knowing Trey Owens as well as you do, what do you think? How long do you think it will be before he's ready to step foot on the behind at starting quarterback for Texas? Maybe Arch Manning gets hurt, or how long do you think his lead time is before he's ready to get out there in front of 100,000 fans?
I think he's embracing the moment. I think he's embracing this journey, knowing that that is the end goal is to be the QB1 for UT. Um, Seeing how things work itself out, just seeing Malik leave, looking at what's going on with the with Texas in the championship game. Ewers, I know a lot of people talking about it, but I mean, if Quinn was to win the national championship, what would that do for his stock and the
Right,
draft? What would that do for his, uh, you know, idea for where he sees himself? And if that's something that he thinks about doing, then are you two? Are you three? Do they bring in another transfer portal guy? But it's looking to where the years kind of line up to where you'll have your opportunity, even if it's not about beating anybody out, just kind of being the next guy up.
the ready guys.
But I know he will put the fire to Arch and he'll put the fire to everybody in the QB room because the kid doesn't let up, and he comes to war every day, practice, even in training. Him and the senior boys, they go at it all the time, trying to top each other out. And, they root for each other, but they also want to be see themselves at being the best. But I encourage them, but I love watching them when they have a love for each other and a brotherhood. They push each other, but at the same time they have a respect for one another, and that's what I want the whole time.
Another one of your other pupils is Derek Lagway, the 5-star out of Willis High School, committed to Florida. How often are Trey and DJ out there throwing side by side? And what's Florida getting in Derek Lagway? I know he's another special young man, even beyond the football field.
Yeah, they work together quite a bit. Him, Carson Gordon going to UCLA, Mabry Matar going to Wisconsin. Those guys are out here training and sharpening each other's swords, sharpening each other's tools, and it's an environment where I want them to grow, but they also challenge and push each other. Uh, Having Derek Lagway on and off the field, the kid is a champion in how he goes about his work ethic, how he goes about his off the field self. He wears his faith on his sleeve. He's unapologetic with it, and it's genuine. Anyone that meets him knows that the kid genuinely loves the God, and he wants other people to know him. He's not a kid that's pulling up banging a whole lot of crazy music. The guy's, he's and his mental is in the right spot.
Right.
Uh, you know, uh, and so when you don't meet too many kids that have parents who have developed a young man that is genuinely like this. This is
Right.
not some fabricated thing that they're try to promote and go on a campaign. And this is how he is. I had an event one time and I wanted him to be there, but he was preaching at a church doing something. And so I was doing the same thing he was doing. And I was hoping he'd be there, but that was where he was needed to be. And
Right.
it was, the young man is really chasing after God as much as he's chasing after football. And it's just, it's to see what he wants to create, what he created at Willis. Like I told him the other day, you can do the same thing at Gainesville. You are going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, you keep working on you and keep trying to recruit these guys to come play with you and selling the vision that you have, and don't let anybody distort the vision you created for yourself and where you want to go and what you want to do.
Yeah, I think there's big things for Lagway no matter what. He's a great dude. I really enjoyed meeting his father. I met him right there at your facility. Brings back some good memories. Seeing that guy thrown as a freshman till now. Seeing Trey's maturation since I first met him a couple of years ago as well. You got quite the thing going on. Let everybody know where they can find you on Twitter so they can look you out. Maybe they've got a third grader out there that's a little giraffe that needs a little help.
I definitely bring the giraffes to me. I will get them better, but I also will believe in them and teach them what I believe they need to know to go into the world and be good human beings. We're over here in Tomball, Texas. We have a facility over here called Blitz Football. You can Google it. We been here for over 10 something years, and it's been a blessing, like I said, to be a blessing to others. My Twitter is the QB Tech, TheQBTech, 5-star GQB Academy. It's also on Instagram, same name.
Same handle.
But appreciate you guys and your time, and look forward to doing this again with
Absolutely.
some other guys, and hopefully, Lord willing, Trey's doing something spectacular for the Longhorns, and y'all reach out to me and we bring this back up again. So appreciate you.
Absolutely. All right, buddies. That's JP Tillman, the QB Tech out of Cypress, Texas, Cy-Fair, Mizzou, Grambling, working with kids for a long time. JP, I really appreciate your time.
Save the youth.
Yeah. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. They do need some help. All right, JP, I appreciate it, buddy.
God bless.